For decades, the photography industry was ruled by a simple, undisputed truth. If you wanted to capture the absolute highest level of detail, dynamic range, and professional-grade imagery, you had to carry a heavy, clunky DSLR camera with a mirror that flipped up and down every single time you pressed the shutter button. But then, the mirrorless revolution happened, and the rules of physics were rewritten. For years, Sony dominated the conversation, while Canon fought aggressively for the crown. But quietly, passionately, and with over a century of optical heritage backing them up, Nikon was plotting a massive, decisive counterattack. That brings us to right now, and the arrival of a camera body that isn't just an incremental update. It is a declaration of war. This is the ultimate, unfiltered truth about the Nikon Z7 III. If you think your current camera setup is perfectly fine, or if you believe the myth that megapixel count is the only thing that matters in high-resolution photography, you need to listen very carefully to what we are about to uncover. Because Nikon didn't just build a new camera body. They have engineered a tool that alters how light is captured, processed, and delivered to the human eye. Today, we are breaking down the psychological shift behind the sensor, the terrifying power of its newly overhauled autofocus matrix, the hidden reality of its video performance, and whether this is truly the ultimate machine for visual purists or just another expensive piece of tech design to separate you from your hard-earned money. Let's dismantle the biggest lie in the modern camera industry right from the start. Camera manufacturers love to throw massive numbers at you to trigger your fear of missing out. They want you to believe that if you aren't shooting with 60, 80, or 100 megapixels, your work is somehow obsolete. But anyone who actually makes a living behind a lens knows that raw resolution without light efficiency is completely useless. It's nothing more than a marketing gimmick designed to fill up your hard drives with bloated files. Nikon understood this deeply when they designed the foundation of the Z7 III. Instead of chasing a ridiculous, unmanageable pixel count just for bragging rights, they focused on the absolute purity of the signal coming off the glass. At the heart of this machine sits a newly developed, high-speed stacked BSI CMOS sensor pushing a massive 45.7 megapixels. Now, on paper, that number might sound identical to its predecessor. But the magic isn't in the quantity of the pixels, it is in how those pixels interact with light. Nikon has completely redesigned the microlens architecture on top of the sensor, allowing it to capture photons at an incredibly steep angle. Why does this matter to you? Because it completely obliterates digital noise in high-contrast environments. When you are shooting a landscape at sunrise, with blinding highlights bleeding through the trees and pitch-black shadows stretching across the valley, traditional sensors panic. They force you to choose between blowing out the sky or losing all the details in the dark. The Z7 III delivers a staggering true 15 stops of dynamic range, allowing you to pull jaw-dropping details out of the shadows in post-processing without introducing that ugly, grainy digital artifacts that completely